Hi there, welcome to Floating in Books. Today I have a video all about how I like to grocery shop. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This video is another random one, but I really enjoyed filming that video about some of the food that I made over the summertime, and I think some of you people also really enjoyed it. So I was like, why not introduce food as a topic on this channel, because it is more of a lifestyle thing. And I just got a whole heap of groceries in, and I was like, why not do a video all about how I like to go about grocery shopping and how I do it. So here we go. So the grocery shop that you're about to see, and I'm gonna let you know why I bought all of the things I bought and what I bought, etc. It's a lot of food. I'm a single person household, so you might think, Micah, that is way too much food for one person for a week. But that's because this amount of food isn't going to last a week. It's going to last 2 to 3 weeks easily. Some of it is even going to last a little bit longer because not all of it is going to go out of date within the next couple of weeks. So I tend to grocery shop whenever I need fresh fruit and veg, and I will add whatever other things I think I need to stock up. And that's usually how I go about it, especially since last year I actually remodeled my kitchen. And I now have a much larger freezer, like I have much more freezer space. I have a much larger fridge than I used to have. And I have a lot more dry storage as well. So for me personally, making this change of having a lot more space in my kitchen, I mean, the floor space it's taking up isn't all that different from what it used to, but the way everything is laid out is just a little bit more cleverly done. So I can also store a lot more food than I used to be able to. So I like to keep my cupboard stocked and ready to go so that I can make pretty much anything on a whim. And I actually had to go to another grocery store as well because I have some people coming over for dinner later this week, and there was one thing in particular I had to go to a specific grocery store for. So that is the first grocery shop. I'll just pop some pictures up on the screen. I had this giant idea of filming me unpacking all of the food that came in today, but then I went to that other grocery store on Friday and it just became a bit of a mess. So I was like, you know what? I'll have pictures and talk people through. I'm sure they don't mind. So this first picture is actually what I bought a couple of days ago when I went to a grocery store I normally don't shop at, and the Asian food market. So I love my Asian food market. They opened a really, really huge one about 10 minutes away from me about a year ago, and I love going there. But since it's a little bit out of the way for where I usually go, it's usually coincides with me running errands that I get to go there. And so I only go there every 6 to 8 weeks or so. So I don't go there every week. And then right next to it, or actually below the Asian food market, they opened a really big Heijn, which is one of their largest supermarket chains in the Netherlands, in case you're not familiar. And it's really big, and they usually have some products that my regular grocery store doesn't have. And then, of course, I run into other things as well. So that's what this first picture is. So I was all out of snacks for the weekend, so I got myself some crisps, that what you see in the left-hand corner of the picture. And then right below that are the other things I bought from Heijn. So I found mini naan. And they were just so cute. And, sometimes having a little naan with your soup or something is just really, really wholesome as well. So these are really, they're only this big. But I thought it could be fun. And then the item that I went in for are some, I think they're preserved lemons in English. I think that's what they're called. It's like a Middle Eastern sort of staple food to add flavor to dishes. And the dish I want to make for the dinner party requires this ingredient. And from what I could tell, Albert Heijn is the only place that stocks it because they have a full range of Middle Eastern sort of foods. So that's why I went there. And then I found some spices there. They have pumpkin spice now there. I saw this on TikTok. Apparently my grocery store stocks it as well because it's just whatever spice brand you have. But if you want to try your hand at making a pumpkin spice latte at home, I think we now can in the Netherlands as well. And then I found out they have peri-peri, which I was like, you know what, peri-peri chicken. I want to sort of try and see if I can sort of make my own Nando's kind of thing at home. that could be fun. So those are the bits I got from Albert Heijn. And everything else in this picture, I'll see if I can like draw a line so that you know which is from what store. But everything else is from the Asian grocery store. And because I don't go there very often, I tend to stock up on especially frozen foods. Instant noodles and frozen dumplings. That's like my two go-to staples in my Asian food market when I go there. But I'm currently really into tteokbokki, so that's why there's a big bag of that. I'm nearly out of my crispy chilies, so that's why I got some of those. I got a full bag of frozen garlic. I was like, that's genius. They're like peeled garlic cloves. It's amazing. So you just take some and then you can just add them to your dish. They'll defrost in like minutes if you just take 2 of them out. So love that. And then I got some more rice cakes. I bought the flat ones this time. Then some dumplings, some gyoza, some Korean style chicken, and some instant rice and some instant noodles, because I love me a dressed up instant noodle moment all the time. So that's why that's here. And then this is the grocery shop that came in today. So I use Jumbo here in the Netherlands and I order my groceries in. This happened a couple of years ago. Back in 2018, I pulled a muscle in my back and I could not possibly go to the grocery store and carry everything home myself. And that's when I sort of started to use their delivery service. And then, of course, we had a pandemic in between. And ever since, I've been really using grocery deliveries, and I haven't looked back since. And the reason why I use Jumbo is because I feel they have a very good variation in their offerings. Their fruit and veg is usually pretty fresh, and it stays fresh for a long time. And what I've just noticed, which is an advantage for me between me going to the store and me getting it delivered, is that when I go to the store, some of the items that are still on the shelf are nearly going out of date, whereas whenever I order online, they guarantee that things will be good for a certain amount of time, so you get fresher produce when you buy online versus what is put out in stores. So that's why I feel everything lasts longer when I order online, and it comes in these big crates, and they just have different bags and crates for all of the produce. So frozen foods come in a bag and your refrigerated stuff comes in a bag. But that's why the images are a little bit, you could say a little bit, like it looks very haphazard, but that's because it's sort of like packed per temperature rather than per like what the items are. So the first bag I opened, because that's where I always start, is the frozen bag. And they had ice cream on offer. And this is why I don't shop for groceries every single week anymore. Because I'm a single person household, if I want to make use of any sort of discount or offer they have going on, I need to buy a little bit more. And very often when I was in stores, I would stay away from a lot of the discounts and just sort of get what I need. Because I didn't have the space before I remodeled, but also because I would not be able to take it home. And now I'm like, okay, I've got 12 ice creams. Do I need 12 ice creams? I probably don't. But this is probably going to last me for the rest of winter, you know what I mean? So these are going to keep for a while, and that way I always have something sweet, and these are my favorites, the Magnum ones. Then when my dinner party happens later this week, I want to make these little puff pastry parcels, so I needed some puff pastry for that. And then blueberries. Berries are going out of season at the minute, so then I always buy them frozen in the winter time because I just love them for smoothies and also for my morning yogurt. So that's that. Then the first bag of produce that I opened was all refrigerated stuff. So I'm not much of a milk person, you could say, but I do buy milk because I sometimes use it in cooking. And I also sometimes use it to make like a cappuccino or something. But like a straight up glass of milk, I haven't had that in years because I don't like it. The thing I do drink is buttermilk. But when I buy it for myself, I get the goat's version because it's a little easier on the stomach than the cow's milk one. And my stomach just agrees a bit with it a little bit better. And it comes in smaller cartons, which I also really, really appreciate because I can actually finish this before it expires. And a big one, I cannot. So yeah, just some staple foods here. I always get some grated mozzarella because it's handy to have on hand. I always buy some, yeah, it's a very Dutch thing to have, but in Dutch we call it kwark. And the only thing that's close to it in English language countries is cottage cheese, but it's actually in between yogurt and cottage cheese. So it has the texture of a smooth cottage cheese, but it's got the flavor of yogurt. That makes sense. So I always get 2 tubs of that because it's like my favorite thing to use for my morning breakfast. I did also buy cottage cheese because I love fluffing up my omelets with it. So that's another staple that I was out of. Those are things I buy like every time I get groceries, really. Then there's a whole stack of deli meat in the back. And you might wonder, Mike, do you need such a big stack of deli meat? But again, this has to do with what's on offer. Jumbo has this like buy 2 for this much money on a lot of their products. And it also goes for the deli meat. So if I want to make sure that I can do that, and then, you know, what combinations am I making? And very often I have like 6 or 8 of these that I want to get. And I sort them in my fridge from what's going to keep the longest to what's going to keep the shortest. And then I sort of eat it in order, you could say. But yeah, that's the way I go about that. So some of this deli meat is going to last until early November, I saw on some of the expiration dates. So it should be fine. It's over like 6 weeks time that I have to finish that. So that's going to be fine. Then I got some grated Parmesan and some ricotta, which is for the dinner party later this week. The feta I'm going to also use for those puff pastry parcels, but the other half I'm going to use for a salad that I'm making this week. Halloumi is something I always just like to have on hand because it's just incredibly handy to have. Got some tofu in here, and then I have some Brussels sprouts, some mandarins, some radishes, and beetroot. This is pre-cooked beetroot, and the plan is to use it in a salad this week to take with me to for lunch to work. And then next week I want to use the other half of the beetroot to make like a creamy beetroot pasta sauce, because I saw I had a recipe for that. And Barbie pasta was all the rage this summer, and I was like, oh yeah, I could do that as well. I don't think I ever made a beetroot sauce though. So it's going to be interesting, but I have that recipe so I can have a look at that to see how they do it. But it essentially was like beetroot cream and whatever things you want to put in there to flavor it. So I should be fine. And then I had a second bag of produce, and here again we have a mixture of like some fruit and veg and some dairy products. There is some baby spinach in the back because that's what I want to use with the beetroot as like a base. And I still have kale in my freezer, so it's going to be kale, beetroot, spinach, and another product that you're going to see in a minute. Got some fresh mint because I love using it for making tea in the winter time, and we're getting towards, like, we're having a beautiful day again today. It's been lovely weather, but it's definitely like tea weather is starting to come back, I feel. I've got Scare, which is again some like very lumpy yogurt. It's just a little bit higher in protein than most yogurt is, so that's why I get this. And then I have some cream in here, some garlic bread, some olives, some green onions or scallions, depending on where you live in English, lemons, grapes, some mini carrots, and 3 baby cheeses, because I thought today is Sunday, and I'm filming it right after my groceries came in, and I was like, oh, gonna be home all day, glass of wine, a bit of a cheese platter. So I got them as like for that reason with some of the olives to have it later today as like a little snack moment. But Jumbo actually does like little mini cheeses, and it's far cheaper than getting the big ones that I need to throw out because I can never finish them. And this way I can like finish them in like 1 or 2 sittings and I'm good. So this is one of the crates that was there with no bags inside it. So these are all like cupboard things that you can keep in the cupboard if you'd like. And in the back I've got some pizza dough and then also some couscous, because the couscous I want to use for the salad later this week. Some white vinegar. They had chocolate milk on offer, so I just buy it. I can just put it away in a cupboard and I'll always have chocolate milk. Got some coconut water, and then they added this drink, this tin can drink, which I don't know what it is. But this happens a lot when you order a line through Jumbo. Then whenever there's like a new product that they want to promote, they just put it in your order and then you just get to try free stuff, which I think is fun. I've got some nuts, some chocolate raisins, flaxseed, and then I've got some tinned food. So I like to buy tinned beans and peas and those kind of things. So I've got some edamame here and some chickpeas. some puree, tomato puree, and then I've got some tahini because I ran out, and sun-dried tomatoes because I have some in my fridge, but those have been opened. And maybe I'll use them in my salad this week, or maybe I'll put them on the little puff pastry things that I'm planning on doing for my neighbors when they come over for dinner this week. I don't know yet. But yeah, then I'm out of sun-dried tomatoes, and that's another thing I always just want to have on hand. Dates, because I was like, lately I was like, I crave something sweet at the end of the day, and I don't necessarily want to like eat chocolate or something. So then a date can be, you know, filling that itch. Some baby cucumbers, a full cucumber, eggs, sunflower seeds. I've got some chia seeds in there, some Maltesers for that chocolate craving. And then I also have some anchovies, which are also for the dish I'm going to make later this week. So we just have, this is the last picture. This is the last bit that was in here. So I always like having some sort of like savory snacks as well. So I've got some Doritos and some Cheetos in here, some Snack-a-Jack mini rice cakes because I like taking them with me to work. I got these little shuttles, they're called. They're like little cheese crackers, you could say. They're to go with the cheese board later today. Limes, some fresh red pepper, some garlic, some onions. Again, just staples. I always have like lemons, limes, red peppers, garlic, onions, green onions. Like those things I just want to have in my pantry and fridge at all times because they go with everything and they just add flavor all the time. And like the mini veggies, I just like eat as snacks to take with me to work as well. So that's why we have some mini tomatoes here, some bananas, and we have half a loaf of bread. I'm still very good on the bread front at the minute because I don't always eat bread, but I go through phases. And then I've just had a bread phase and everything runs out super quickly. And then I can like sit on a stack of bread for a while. I usually pop these things in the fridge so that they keep longer. And then I've got Snickers, again, for the sweet cravings, just in case. Yeah, so that's it. That's how I grocery shop. So I tend to buy more in one go and then make it last longer and sort of plan things out. Because I'm pretty sure that some of the Brussels sprouts, which I bought to go with the dinner that I'm going to do later this week, I'm going to have some left. So I'm probably going to be able to freeze that. When I make that beetroot pasta next week, I'm probably going to have more so I can freeze that again. So I try to like plan and make sure that if I buy something, I can use it for multiple dishes so that I'm not like left with a lot of things. And even though, you know, I talked about how I like to like meal prep and have things in the freezer ready to go. But those are all dinner meals. But because dinner is now sorted, I can put more effort into like breakfast and lunch things. So yeah, I'm going to be meal prepping a salad later today, which I'm going to take with me to work. That's sort of one of the things I still need to do today. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I do it. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. I really hope you got something out of it. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining me. Next week, I will be doing my wrap up. There is a book I'm in the midst of that I want to finish before I give you an update of what I have been reading the past 2 months. So stay tuned for that if you want to know what I have been reading and what I have been up to. So thank you so very much for joining me. Thumbs up this video, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.